Hi, Bryce. Mr. Parrish here. I want to take a minute to work through just a couple of issues with the response paper. This was an excellent response to the assignment. This is a textbook case of using the summary, extended kind of they say move to set up what you want to say, and what you had to say was really as interesting and as compelling as what your source said. I won't take a lot of time, but I will point out a couple of things. Just as you do on the works cited page, Richmond Register should be italicized. So it's just as important to punctuate titles correctly in your text. Basically, that's all italics is for, is to indicate that the words, this combination of words, are a title. So it's helpful if you italicize the publication. In that sentence where you say the contrasting view held by many Americans in writing, the in writing it's fairly clear that it refers to Perkins, but grammatically it could refer to many Americans. So I would kind of come back into this and say held by many Americans when he writes, and then that clearly connects those words to Mr. Perkins. Beyond that, I think you pulled out the key ideas of the source, and again, as I said, your response is really strong as well. The Cold War, I think, like the Civil War, is in that form, it would be capitalized. If you ever have a question about something like that, just Google it and see what other people do. If the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post refer to it and capitalize it, then follow their lead on that. And the final thing here is this like Perkins. This is what we call a appositive phrase, but this citation here talks about it. Hi, Bryce. Mr. Parrish here again. I just want to take a couple of minutes and talk about, first of all, what a really good job you did on this assignment. This is a great response to the assignment. And I think just a textbook case of a summary of an article being used to set up what you want to say, and especially I think picking up on that last idea, ending with this idea of any hint of communist ideology, and you certainly pick up on that very well in the second part. So first of all, for the most part, just rock solid work. I'll comment on a couple of the things I indicated in here just to clarify them, because they're maybe, they're certainly not first tier issues. They're very much second or third tier issues, but here goes. Just as you do on the works cited page, you want to italicize Richmond Register because to indicate that it's a title. That's basically what italics does. It's to indicate that this combination of words is being used as a title in this particular case. Later in that sentence, when you say a view held by many Americans in writing, the in writing, since it's closer to Americans than it is Perkins, it could be misleading in that it applies to Americans. So I'd go back and rewrite it as contrasting view held by many Americans when he writes, if you work 40 hours. The he then would connect it to Perkins and separate it from Americans. Then on the second page, where you use Cold War, I would capitalize it. I'm pretty sure that it is a historic event as much as the American Civil War or the Spanish-American War or something like that. If you ever have a question, just Google something like this and see what publications do. If you find an article in the Washington Post and they capitalize it, then follow their lead. And the last thing is where you say, I, like Perkins, have no problem. Here's a case where that first comma is one of a pair of commas. There should be another one after Perkins. This grade mark sort of explains that these commas act kind of like parentheses. You might think of them almost like soft parentheses, but they do the same sort of thing. Like Perkins is interrupting your sentence, I have no problem. So that second comma would come in here. On your works cited page, this was pretty much perfect. Now, as we add others to this, and when we work on the working bibliography, remember that a works cited citation requires a hanging indent. That means that the second, in this case, the second and third lines would be indented. That's depending on which version of Word you're using. This can be an easy task or it can be a frustrating task. What you could do is just go here behind the SEP, click Enter, and then hit Tab, and it'll scoot these two lines over here. If you click on there and hit Tab, then it tends to scoot everything over. But play around with that and create that hanging indent on your works cited page. Still, all in all, I thought this was a really sophisticated piece of writing. I mean, for the 2 paragraphs that you got done. But man, keep this up and you'll do fine in the class. All right, talk to you later.